video thumbs up right now if this is the best thing about riding a bike. Okay, so all last week I was actually brought down by a bit of a cold. I want to say a bit of a cold. It wasn't like one of those ones that kind of traps you and you can't do anything. It was more like a blocked nose, and that was it. Like, no throat symptoms, no chest symptoms, nothing. So I ended up still riding most of the week. In fact, I think I got a 15-hour weekend, 15 hour weekend. 2 rides where I did almost 5 hours, and I put a post up not so long ago on Instagram about how research is kind of saying that so long as you take it easy, and I mean like really easy, you can still ride. And being that I tend to follow a polarized training approach anyway, it actually did me no harm. In fact, it almost benefited me because I was actually forcing myself to do a lot of zone 1 and zone 2 riding. My heart rate is a little bit high, so I've still got that, I guess, freshness there. But I'm definitely over it. I'm definitely over this illness, this cold. But the build now is still on schedule. Like, we're still heading in the right direction. We've got like 32 days or whatever it is, or 31 days till we go to Mallorca. So a month is a long time. At the minute I'm kind of like not even weighing myself, and I haven't been weighing myself anyway, but I know that when I do, from time to time, I'm like, expect to see 60-61 kilos, and that's where I am right now. But in order to be doing the performance I want to do, I would much rather be leaving the shores of Wales in 30 days time near 59, so that I have the comfort of knowing that if I gain a kilo or walked away or whatever, then I'll still be in good shape. I use that term loosely as well, for Cyclobra. So week Thursday, so 8-9 days from now, we've got a team meet with Saint Piran. Plus, it's my first race this weekend. Sunday, it's the Bynea Open 10 mile time trial, which I'm going to be doing on my trusty steed, the Tifosi Mons, which is also my national hill climb running bike. Served me very well this winter. It's basically decked out for winter, mud guards, everything, saddlebag, you name it. Weighs a little bit more than it did on that day. This weekend, good friend who's also riding for Team Byron McLaren now, Scott Davis, he's riding his last man off. He's going to be on like the best equipment in the world, and it'll be great to compare his time and mine. That's if he shows up, because he's actually on the training camp in Tenerife last week, and of course that sandstorm was hit, so maybe he would show up.
Alright, hello everyone. We have some data today to look over, and I'm very excited to share it with you. I'm going to be using, well, I'm not going to be using Training Peaks. I'm going to be using Strava, and in particular the add-on that I've seen people use recently called Source for Strava. It's really good. It's a Chrome add-on. So yeah, I've just plugged that, so they owe me a lot of money. But anyway, we're going to jump into this segment effort that I did today on my ride. It came just over an hour into my ride today, and I wanted to give myself a real test before I start racing, before I start focusing mentally more than physically, I think, on Cyclobra, which is going to be like 31 days away, I think I said previously in the video. So I'm showing you now, this is the start of the climb. This is a steep section. The first, let me get this right, the first 2k is at 8%, and it's fairly slow. I'm going to speed this up in a second as well to get us over the top very quickly. So I've got a little bit of power overlay. We've got around about 420 watts that I average for the first 5.5 minutes, which equates to 6.9 watts per kilo currently. And my heart rate rises very gradually from an average of 163 and a max of 175. And that's basically all I need to know about. Oh, actually, fun fact, this today was cold. Like, I actually did this effort in 0 degrees. All right, the proof is online. It was 0 degrees. So bear that in mind. Like, well, I'm bearing it in mind anyway, because I know that, you know, when I go to Mallorca, it'll be at least 10 degrees, and I'll be wearing significantly less kit as well, and obviously less junk on my bike that I'll be carrying up the climb. So this is the first part of the climb. It's very steady, very steep, and once I got over it, I then encounter, I think it's around about, let me just check, 4K with an average gradient of 2.4%, which takes me around 8 minutes to complete. I think, yeah, 380 watts I then drop down to. So there's obviously a big drop off there. Heart rate still elevated, 176. I'm going to put some screenshots in as well where I think they're needed. But basically, I rode the climb. Well, I raced the climb. Let's put it that way. So the whole climb is 6 kilometers at 4%, but it's up and down. Like, it really is up and down. Like, after this, you'll see it now all in the footage, but there's some severely fast bits where I get up to at least 54k an hour at one point, and you know, there's no use pressing on the pedals basically. So I'm really pressing on that first steep section that we saw. I then come down to around 330 watts for a flatter section before increasing it, and basically anything over 4 or 5%, I was like really concentrating on getting out you know, over 7 watts per kilo. So anything over 410, 420 watts was ideal. So that was my kind of effort pacing strategy to try and get the most out of myself, because this test today, the thing is, I've been training so hard, like daily, just motivated for this one event that well, it's not an event, but this one goal I have to do Sacalobra in a very, very fast time, and I know what I need to do to do that. And so today's climb was 13 minutes and 23 seconds, and I averaged 6.6 watts per kilo, which is 394 watts, and with a normalized of just shy of 400, it was 399. So, you know, that that is the best I've ever done this time of year, hands down. So I'm obviously in a very good place, but the big picture, like, I'm focused on, can I then repeat that? I need to do 23, 24, 25 minutes at this kind of pace. But obviously I have plenty of time on my side. I've got 30 days, so this is just the beginning, and it's also part of me needs to now get used to doing these hard efforts for a sustained amount of time, like 170 beats per minute for 13.5 minutes. I need to get used to doing that. I need to get used to making these prolonged efforts, and basically being in pain for a long time. The last part of this effort, which again is very fast, so this is not ideal. I had a little bit of a tailwind as well, but the last 5 minutes I averaged 391 watts, which is still 6.5 watts per kilo. But again, only 3% average, so fairly shallow. I've learned a lot from this today. Like, I've learned that I'm obviously what I've done this winter has paid off, and I'll also have another very good indicator of my form this weekend at the Bynea Open 10 mile time trial, which the weather doesn't look good for. It looks like it's going to be windy, so it might take me a while. I'm doing it on a road bike, non-aero, so it could take me like 22 minutes. Now, that's actually better for me, because obviously Sacalobra is on my mind, so the climb is only going to be two or 3 minutes longer than that. So that actually gives me a very good indication as to what power I can actually hold for that period of time. So close, well, I say so close, but with 2 or 3 weeks to go. So we have breathing room, judging by this weekend's effort. So that's it, really. I just wanted to kind of talk about it, this effort, because this is the first time I've tested myself rather than a normal 20-minute test. This is actually a climb test, and it's something different. You know, I wouldn't necessarily do it, but because my goals are a little bit different this year, then it's given me a different direction, and this has allowed me to test my earlier season form on a climb. Now, some of you will note this if you do use Source for Strava, that there's a UCI World Tour badge come up next to the effort, and that apparently means that my effort is good enough for the World Tour. Yeah, whatever, but we've literally done it 1 hour into a ride with zero fatigue in the legs, so take that for what it's worth. But yeah, it's confidence building, and it doesn't fill my ego. It just fills my boxes that I'm ticking as we get closer to this. If anything, and I was talking to Anthony about it today on the ride, the effort today was probably harder. I know it's only 30 minutes, but if you compare it to the first 30 minutes of my Sacalobra attempt, riding 13 minutes, the first 5-6 minutes where I averaged 7 watts per kilo, I wouldn't need to do that at Sacalobra. It's more like a time trial effort where you can hold the same power the whole way. There's not really any gradient changes. So like today, I could probably have gone out and done 400 watts, the same average power, but I would have gone slower, because if I'd have gone 400 watts for that first bit instead of 416, I would have lost a couple of seconds. So I was actually racing the climb today and pushing myself, so I deliberately went harder on that first bit, and then my average fell away at the end, but that's because that's what the climb required me to do.
I don't know. I'm just supposed to leave the house. It's flat out. So it's back in the thing. If I gotta wait to get it on the side. But then I got there about 53 out. I thought, I think I'm carry on head. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I don't know.